Nigeria, Abdul Aboki, Judge of the High Court of Kano State. Please put your hands together. Let me especially welcome and Honorable Commissioner of Justice for Delta State is also with us. You're welcome. Entourage from Kano, the Chief Judge of Kano State is here. I'm going to ask you to say generally that everyone on our list is a very important. Let me especially appreciate our Chief Lunch and special guest for today, His Excellency Chief Nyesom Wike. Your Excellency, thank you very much for agreeing to come. We know you have a busy schedule. The government house of River State has been turned to all sorts of methods and politicians. But you still find time to come to this event. This is how seriously you take us. Let me especially thank the most hospitable people in Nigeria. If you have never visited Katsina, then you have not visited a hospitable place. And that is why I have the honor to also specially appreciate one man who is also gentle. As a lawyer, he gave me my first 100,000 as a student in Katsina. Let me especially welcome the Chief Judge of Katsina State. Let me especially appreciate the Lord Honorable Justice Musa Abubakar. You're welcome.
Simply to remind us, because we all know why we're here, but my task is simply to remind us we have come to honor a man who has been described as an enigmatic personality, a legal and judicial colossus, an exemplary judicial officer of robust scholarly disposition, and yesterday was described as the recurring decimal in the annals of Nigerian judiciary because of his acute sense of fairness and equity, a jurist par excellence who demonstrates profound clarity and precision, as well as meticulousness and attention to details. Please join me in putting your hands together for Honorable Justice Abdul Aboki. He is the one we have all come here to honor. And speeches will be brief, all statements will be brief, because today is Friday, and we have to quickly conclude this event so that we can go for prayers. So I will be proceeding to the next item on the agenda, and that's inviting the chairman for his opening remarks. Please, let's put our hands together and welcome Alhaji Dahiru Manga for his welcome remarks. I saw him earlier on. Okay. He's now represented, I think he had to step out. He's now represented by Shehu Wada. Please, let's put our hands together for the representative of the chairman.
Assalamu alaikum. I've been asked by Alhaji Dahiru Manga, the chairman of Marcia Industry and Marcia Limited, to represent him. He had to step out for emergency call. Your Excellencies, my lords, Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be here as part of this occasion. My Lord, J.Sc. Abdul Aboki is a personal friend and a legal icon, worth of emulation. His contribution to legal jurisprudence in Nigeria and beyond cannot be underestimated. So I therefore welcome you all to this book launching. So I reserve the others after the chief launching.
Especially recognize the one from whom we are here and is amiable.
Justice Abdul Aboki, he has explained the reason to us why it's just Abdul and not Abdul joined with any other thing. That is one aspect I didn't know until yesterday. Well, we all claim to be of humble beginning based of a noble background. And the nobility continues to radiate in his life in the way and manner he does his things over the past 30 years that I've known him. In the words of the Chief Justice yesterday, he said he is a pious man and very humble. And I'll just give you an instance. One day in my house, the late Olaiwola Kusamatu was on a visit. He's a brother to the late Dr. Ahmed Kusamatu. I'm talking about humility now. A testimony from somebody who's gone to the beyond. And he said, description yesterday, he didn't cite examples. So I'm supplementing it with examples. He is blessed with good children who are humble and steeped in culture. When I say steeped in culture, we know what we see nowadays, but the children are well behaved and steeped in culture. And on this, I want to thank my Lord Justice J.Sc. Aboki for holding the whole very tightly and for the good products and for the life my Lord lives and will continue to live. Because without a peaceful home, a man cannot or may not be able to achieve that. My Lord Justice Aboki has gone through the entire structure of the judiciary. He started in the ministry. He went through all the ranks. He became permanent secretary. He became chief registrar of the court. So he understands the nitty-gritty of the court system. And lo and behold, he got to the pinnacle of his career at the Supreme Court by becoming a Supreme Court Justice of Nigeria. Before I sign off, because time is a bit not on our side, in his address yesterday, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, he made reference to a case decided by my Lord, which is a locus classicus. It's what I would call a case in the class of Blackburn cases in England by Lord Denny on the issue of locus standi. And what did Fawemi, the plaintiff in the case, what did he go for? He went for something of public interest. And his lordship laid a rule or made a kind of a rule or proposition that, look, we cannot expect the Attorney General, who is a political officer, to go and challenge the government he serves. Therefore, since Fawemi was a taxpayer and he had shown clearly that he had interest in a public matter of a public importance, so he had the necessary locus standi. Therefore, creating a new opening when it comes to public law as far as locus standi is concerned. And I think in the developing country, or developing countries like ours, or non-developing or stagnant countries like ours, whichever it is applicable, such a very progressive reasoning will assist us in a long way. My Lord, we thank you, and the Nigerian legal system owes you. And I hope in future, when the Supreme Court will have the opportunity to look at Fawemi and the Attorney General of the Federation, which the Attorney General himself has commended, I hope that you will not go there and oppose it. so that when it comes to local standard and in the area of public law, the reasoning of my Lord should be the new thinking. But if it is purely private, yes, it's none of your business. But what concerns all of us concerns everybody, and therefore the locus should be granted, which is what he did. On this, I would like to sign off. Thank all of us for coming. 3 aspects of him. Activism. It's only on the judicial activism I've come to talk this morning. I only illustrated the 2 earlier ones with example. May it please my noble lords.
I am invited to review is a 969-page book. But don't panic. I have done a panoramic view of the book and have just paraphrased it into 6 pages. And even at that 6 pages, I will do justice to it by paraphrasing the 6 pages so that we can all prepare for the prayers. It gives me immense pleasure to review this book, which is a compendium of selected leading judgments delivered by my Lord, the Honorable Justice Abdul Aboki, CON, J.Sc, as his name was, at the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, respectively, between 2006 and 2022. The compendium is a clear testimony to the industry, dedication to duty, and commitment of the author during his years on the bench as the Justice of the Court of Appeal and later as the Justice of the Supreme Court. Earlier, in his younger years in the profession, his lordship had laid a solid foundation, not only as an astute state counsel and a public prosecutor, but also as a no-nonsense judicial officer on the bench of the High Court. The book is dedicated to the cause of advancement of administration of justice, rule of law, and democracy in Nigeria. The nation in general and the general profession in particular must be proud of the achievements of this eminent jurist, whom we are all gathered here to celebrate. The foreword to the compendium is written by the Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola, who aptly notes that, I quote, "The judgments are very rich and the authoritative sources of the principles of Nigerian law and practice," unquote. The biography of the author is at pages Roman figure 8 to 12. This shows the trajectory of the author's illustrious career on the bench from his first appointment in 1987 to his elevation to the Court of Appeal in 2006 and the Apex Court in 2020. The compendium presents in ready-friendly format a total of 60 leading judgments of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, ably written and delivered by the author. It exhibits at pages 19 a list of 132 other leading judgments delivered by the author, which are not included in this volume, but due to constraints of time and space. It is hoped that the publishers will produce more volumes of His Lordship's leading judgments in order to provide a fuller picture of his contributions to the development of Nigerian law as an appellate justice. The 60 cases contained in this volume are divided into 15 parts. Namely, there are aspects on the constitutional law, criminal law, law of evidence, practice and procedure, fundamental human rights, civil procedure, down to the land law, making the 15th. Being leading judgments of the highest appellate courts in the country, the judgments constitute binding precedents on the matters covered. Each case begins with a clear identification of the key principles decided. This whets the appetite of the reader by providing foreknowledge of the contents of each judgment. It is important to note that most of my Lord's Court of Appeal decisions were never appealed to the Supreme Court, while those appealed were mostly upheld. In 2 cases, the editors included excerpts from dissenting opinions of other justices. However, in 58 of the 60 judgments, in the 969 pages included in this compendium, other justices of the courts concurred with His Lordship's leading judgments. Therefore, the compendium is highly recommended for judges, legal practitioners, law students, and other researchers who continually seek proper elucidation of the principles of law. The compendium is loaded with treasures of legal principles and judicial wisdom, which provide authoritative guidance to both lawyers and litigants. It suffices to refer to a few of these cases. I'll just speak about, there are about 10, but that I decided I'll dissect. But let me just speak about 3 out of them for paucity of time. In Okeke versus Uwachina, the author makes clear that a court has a duty to hear all applications pending before it, whether they are frivolous or even an outright abuse of the process of court. Explaining the logic behind this principle, His Lordship stated that it is only by hearing them that the court can decide whether they are frivolous or not. This reminds one of the famous quote of Justice Kayode Esho, J.Sc. of blessed memory, that judges are paid to listen to both sense and nonsense. Case number 2, House of Representatives and Others versus SPDC, Nigeria Limited and another. His Lordship declared that the National Assembly's power of investigation cannot be extended to matters over which the Assembly has no legislative competence. Therefore, the issue at hand being on the siting of waste management facility on a land in Rivers State and was beyond the legislative and investigative competence of the National Assembly. Last case I'll take is in the case of the Central Bank of Nigeria versus the Registered Trustees of the Nigerian Bar Association and Attorney General of the Federation, 2021. His Lordship upheld the decision of the Trial Federal High Court to the effect that the provisions of Section 5 of the Money Laundering Provision Act 2011 do not apply to legal practitioners on the ground of being unconstitutional, ultra vires the National Assembly, and therefore void. To him, the Special Control Unit on Money Laundering cannot override or take precedence over the statutory and constitutional bodies, including the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which are charged with the responsibility of regulating the legal profession as well as disciplining erring lawyers. These and other matters dealt with can easily be assessed by using the index provided at the end of the compendium. Certainly, the compendium under review is a powerful resource for Nigerian law and practice. It will be very useful to judges, legal practitioners, lecturers, law students, and even non-lawyers who want to understand how the law works. I recommend it to you all. In conclusion, I congratulate the author, Honorable Justice Abdul Aboki, J.Sc, retired, CON, on the successful completion of his meritorious duty.
But mainly from Sokoto, Ilorin, and Maiduguri. It's a book of 28 chapters, very voluminous, and is divided into 7 parts. There is no central theme running through the book, and it's understandable because it is a collection of chapters. But the editors have done well in categorizing the chapters, putting them into parts. Because of lack of time, I will just go through the parts, identifying some key chapters under the parts. Under part 1, we have 10 chapters. 1 to 10. And the theme or the main topic of this part is law and administration of justice. The first chapter was contributed by the two editors, Professor Mansur Ibrahim Said and Dr. Kabir Garba Muhammad.
First of all, let me correct an impression being made by the MC. He said, I came here with a large entourage. And then he mentioned the King Okopo. For record purposes, I don't go out with traditional rulers. Before you put it on pages of newspapers, you can see the governor, he tracks traditional rulers, have no respect for them. You see how he brought the King Okopo. I never came here with any traditional ruler. I was sitting there, somebody came and told me he's representing the King of Opobo. So please, I only came here with the former Deputy Speaker, Chibudomuche, Senator Olaka, and the Zora Chairman of my party, only 3 people only. So that today is my first time of coming to Abuja since I lost the election. You know, I'm not like Yaya Bello, who lost, and every day is in Abuja. In fact, I even tried and came second. I didn't come even 7th. But frankly speaking, let me sincerely thank my brother, the governor of Kogi State. He's one of the youngest brothers, the youngest governors, who are living the same for them. Or we pray for those of them who take over to continue to do well for Nigeria. Frankly speaking, let me thank the celebrant and also congratulate you. It's not easy to retire 70 years with good health. And so I want to, on behalf of my wife and the entire people of the state, congratulate you and your family for retiring with good health. When I was called, first of all, Raji told me I was going to be the chairman of the dinner. I said, no. There are so many big people when it comes to dinner. I will go where we will not have so many big people. And that has to do with book presentation. In that case, it has to do launching. So please, I will not bother. And if it were dinner, it will be in the evening. And you know, we have an injunction in my state. No governor sleeps outside. And so I don't want anybody to say I disobeyed any order. So that's why it's okay. Let me come to the one that we had in the daytime, and then I will rush back to the state. The MC has said 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I will not, but you know, as the chief launcher or the launcher, my own is not only to talk, it's only to also say the value. So you give me extra 2 minutes. And because it will be inappropriate, I just come here, I talk about our dear brother, our dear father, and friend, Mr. Aboki, and unveil the book, without also saying one or two things that it affects this country, as affects the judiciary. Because members of the inner bar are here, justices of Supreme Court are here, justices of Court of Appeal are here, judges of other jurisdictions are here. So it will be better I use opportunity before I unveil to just say one small thing so that we will all have at the back of our mind where we're heading to and what's expected of us. It gives me, of course, a great pleasure to be invited to be the chief unveiler, as you may call it, chief presenter, chief launcher, whatever you call it. Today's occasion pertaining to the book written in honor of one of our best legal minds, Justice Abdul Aboki, J.Sc. I very much appreciate the honor to share this special occasion with the nation's great legal minds and other important dignitaries that are here. Honorable Justice Aboki, the man we have all gathered here to celebrate, is a consummate jurist who has left his name indelibly in the sands of time and judicial history. While judges of different social, economic, and political persuasions, Honorable Justice Abdul Aboki prides himself among the progressive rank that stands up to what is right and just, and believes that the law and the Constitution, as interpreted and enforced by the courts, must both protect and advance the unity and well-being of the nation and her citizens. So much has been said, especially in the last few days, about the celebrant, about his career, virtues, and extraordinary accomplishments of this jurist. But for me, nothing can be more befittingly honoring than this book about him, which is unique in its form, comprehensive in its contents, and highly illuminating in legal ideas and knowledge. Let me therefore commend those who took the initiative to painstakingly put these great works together, and congratulate Honorable Justice Aboki for the extraordinary recognition which presents yet another glorious mark for their personality and also for the collective history of the bar and bench in Nigeria. As I've said before, these are very bad times for our country, with extreme insecurity, a collapsing economy, massive corruption, as well as political uncertainty, with democracy and the rule of law under constant threat. Without any doubt, life is becoming too unbearable for the majority of citizens, just as the signs of a failing or failed state are too glaring to be ignored. The federal government continues to undermine the rule of law, while political parties and party leaders continue to exhibit utter arrogance and disdain for the electoral laws and the democratic process in their actions and conduct, with cries of injustice, discrimination, and inequities everywhere, and with the rising stability and deterioration of law and order. Only the undiscerning would believe that Nigeria is not headed for the hard rocks. Let's be frank with ourselves. The federal government has failed in its basic duties to secure the country and advance the economic well-being of all citizens, which is the reason for the heightened sense of frustration, conflicts, and violence threatening to tear this country apart. As the general election approaches, as everything about Nigeria continues to wobble and tumble, Nigerians are becoming more and more apprehensive about the success of the general election and the survival of our democracy beyond 2023. However, we must neither lose hope nor give up on Nigeria, because as bad as things are, we can still trust the nation's judiciary to save our country by granting justice, equity, and equality to every citizen. Nevertheless, this is possible only when the judiciary is able to assert itself without fear or favor, upholding the truth at all times, and standing up to any other power or principality that attempts to undermine or override its constitutional responsibilities, powers, and processes. Justice could be denied, justice could be delayed, which is not acceptable, but it must never be refused or denied for the judiciary to serve as an effective watchdog of our democracy and towards the evil intentions of the enemies of the people. For me, it is given that Nigeria and our democracy will survive only if our judicial system is strong and alive. But the judiciary dies when public confidence is lost in its ability to defend the rule of law and dispense free and equal justice to all. The judiciary dies where it lies comatose and removed from the aspirations of the citizens for good governance, the rule of law, the protection of fundamental rights, and the guarantee of free and fair elections. The judiciary dies when it can easily be manipulated and intimidated and refuse to be intimidated. When the injustice is rendered in place of justice to the aggrieved parties, or when resort to self-help and other means of redress after the law becomes the preferred norm by citizens. All said and done, effective and efficient judicial justice delivery is imperative for defending democracy, sustaining the rule of law, protecting fundamental human rights, and advancing economic development. Let us therefore continue to call on the federal government to strengthen our judiciary system by resolving the challenges militating against judicial effectiveness, as I have done in Rivers State, where we have continued to prioritize the independence of the judiciary and improve the working and living conditions of our judges beyond measure. Let me say this. I found out that for you to appoint judges in states, the NJC will send a team to verify houses for the judges to be appointed, cars, whether they are ready. But it baffles me, or it baffled me when I heard later what happened later, that when NJC is appointing Supreme Court justices, they don't go and find out whether the houses are ready. They don't go and find out whether the vehicles are ready. be, nobody does that. But when it concerns the state, let us see where the houses are ready. Let us see where the cars are ready. That is not, that's double standard. It's double standard. You come, am I ready? Yes. Where the houses is here. Where the vehicles are here. You, are you ready? Nobody talks about it. It's double standard. So, I'm sorry, I'm using this book presentation. My Lord, the celebrant, I'm sorry. Please, let your colleagues not say, why do you call me to unfair? But you see, it's an opportunity. So that let the whole world hear. You apply one principle here, you apply different principle in the other side. That's not fair. That's not fair. If you know you don't have houses for your own judges, don't appoint. If you know the vehicles are not ready, don't appoint. So as if I'm not ready for judges in my state to be appointed, when there are no houses to give to them, when the vehicles are not even vehicles or buying used vehicles. It's unfortunate, that's what happens. I go out to other states, I see the used vehicles they give, and then they should approve. Then when they come to my one, it must be SUV, brand new. It's double standard. It's double standard. And for people like us, we must say it out. That will come, nobody knows the date will come. Even those who are afraid of that die first before us. Because we will live long. Finally, I wish to once again congratulate my Lord Honorable Justice Abdul Aboki, J.Sc. That's one thing I said, my Lord, don't do. If you have put this in Lagos or in Kano, I would have been happy. When I landed and then I passed the venue, I think my Lord intentionally wanted me to remember, look, you remember 28th, 29th of May. This was what happened to you. But life continues. So, my Lord, I thank you very much for this opportunity. And I thank you. You see, for people who have sat down to put this together, it takes time. It takes a lot of energy, time, and resources. I don't have many faculty. We have Faculty of Law, University of Port Harcourt. I'm not buying for Nigeria, I'm buying for River State. I'm not, nobody's student. Faculty of Law, River State University, Faculty of Law, University of Port Harcourt, Ministry of Justice, and Judicial. That's four. Okay. So my Lord will unveil this book, with a sum of 100 billion naira.
Because we speak the truth to authorities. And our colleagues know that it is myself and him, we are different as far as the Nigerian Governors Forum is concerned. So my senior brother, I respect you highly. The Supreme Court justices here present, with situations or times like this will come, I have to now ensure that my first wife is a lawyer. So that Nyesom Wike will not be intimidating me all the time. So, I will apply to the NJC, Privileges and Ethics Committee, so that I can be given Junior Advocate of Nigeria. Whenever we are here like this, I will not be intimidated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to celebrate, to appreciate our own father. I refer to him as my father. Justice Abdul Aboki for his meritorious service to our fatherland. When I took off as an executive governor of Kogi State on 27th of January 2016, he was, and he still is, one of the few leaders in this country who invited me and taught me a lot of lessons. And he continued to guide me till date. I continue to appreciate you, my father, for the wise advice, for counseling me all through the turbulent days. I'm sure Governor Nyesom Wike knows that they give me a lot of hell when I took off. That is PDP. But I was able to stabilize. But I want to assure you that the wise counsel I learned from you will continue to guide me. When I am in the midst of elders, especially those that are accomplished, particularly Justice Abdul Aboki, when I look at him, he doesn't know exactly what I'm looking, why I'm looking at him. I'll be admiring him, I'll be staring at him, he doesn't understand why. And I'm sorry, I was going to say Your Excellency. My Lord, let me tell you just one of which. Today, I look at my justice and say, has he really retired from the Supreme Court? I can't believe this. If you look at him, very energetic, even looking younger than myself. And he is very straightforward. And I used to reflect and I said, oh, I'm just starting my own political career. Not unlike my dear brother that is already retiring and giving us way for Nyesom Wike. And I said, will I ever retire from politics and still be this very strong and energetic? I know sometimes I go to gym. I don't think I can beat my Lord Justice Abdul Aboki in gymming. My Lord, God Almighty will continue to bless you. And we will continue to come and learn from you. And I think Nigerians will continue to learn from you. Yesterday, I listened attentively to all these speeches from the CJN to everyone. And you did admonish Nigerians to respect leadership and pray for leaders in this country. Nigeria might seem to look as if we are moving certain direction. But indeed, no democracy will attain the highest level as we have it today in America without passing through a lot of challenges. We are passing through our own challenges this moment. And I plead with all the leaders and elders of this country to teach us well and speak well of this country, however it is, because Mr. President is doing his best to ensure that this country is guided aright. No any leader whatsoever will ever want his own regime or his reign to be characterized with crisis. Today, there are so many gains in this administration by our president, by our governors, including Governor Nyesom Wike and myself, and every leader in this country. So, sometimes we refer to this country as being stagnant. Nigeria is not stagnant. Nigeria is moving. Sometimes it may be wobbling, but we're only praying that Nigeria remain a stable country for ourselves, for Africa, and for the world indeed. I sincerely appreciate you. I cannot do what my brother has done. I wish we had just been enlisted as oil producing states. So we are far your junior. And please permit me to launch and appreciate the good work that has been put together with a total sum of 1 billion kobo. Thank you and God bless you all.
Please put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen.
Toto?
Please, can we go back? How can we get this out?
Your Excellency, we are waiting. Photographers, please, immediately after this, will allow you photo opportunities.
Your Excellency, Senator from Airways announced Justice Gentlemen, please, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Senators of Airways, we unveil his book,
Thank you very much. Please, let's hold a copy each. If you can hold two, fine, but one copy is good. If you can hold the two, is good. So we'll hold the books. It's good to smile at this point. It's good to smile. Just look at the cameraman. Cameraman, can you capture everybody on the move? Just smile, just smile.
Excited and elated by the presence of all these people that
We have
are here
Alhaji
today.
Salisu Sambajo, MFR, JP, 4 copies, 200,000 naira. Thank you.
Justices now, sir.
Yes.
Do you think that is enough in talking about dispensation of justice, sir?
Well,
Attorney General,
there is need to have more justices on the court
Cross River State,
because the justices have been overworked.
5 copies.
And with our exit, there's more burden now on them. So there's you need to increase the number.
250,000 naira.
Nigerian judicial system.
And the
Yes.
What reforms do you think is necessary towards the development of Nigeria?
Yes, I have said that the constitution should be amended so that all these small intellectual applications don't come to the Supreme Court. Issues of election, only the presidential appeal for a presidential election should go to the Supreme Court. Governorship and all that should end at the
We are still taking
state,
contribution, not leave here without the book. Please don't buy the book in black.
Justice Aboki is an outstanding person in terms of his humility, in terms of his love for the nation, love for people. And these are the principles that have shaped his work. If you read his judgments, we compiled these judgments. And we have to read them. You will see the milk of human kindness flowing through his judgments. Justice to him is an important commodity that must be dispensed with fairness and fear of God, which is called piety. And his piety was even acknowledged by His Lordship, the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So we congratulate the Honorable Justice Abdul Aboki on his retirement from the bench. And his principle is let justice be done. The heavens will not fall. And through his judgments, he has successfully demonstrated that, you can be just while applying the law. Even when applying a bad law, if it's justly applied, justice can still be done. Thank you very much. Thank you.